High school football semifinal round concluded Saturday, where Byron and Lena Winslow had their eyes on getting to the title game. Both games were the closest each team had all season, which gave us some impressive plays for our Football Frenzy Play of the Week. We highlight the best plays from the weekend, and you pick the winner on the homepage of our website.
And here's the Play of the Week, brought to you by Midwest Bath Company.
First, we head to Chicago Hope Academy, where Lena Winslow is playing in the Class 1A semifinals. It's handed off to junior Coburn Lynch, and he reaches right over the pylon to respond after Chicago Hope scored on their opening drive. Sticking with Lena Winslow, nearing the end of the first, the Panthers get a penalty, so they're pushed back to make it 1st and 20 when Jake Schumacher drops back and connects with Lynch again for 26 yards, making that his second touchdown of the game and only Lena's second passing touchdown on the year. Lynch finishes with 3 touchdowns. On to Byron, where they were down 20-18 to Montini, who drove downfield and were in the red zone when sophomore Caden Considine came up with a game-changing interception for his first pick of the season to set up Byron for the scoring opportunity, which brings us to our next nominee. Still for Byron when Braden Knoll fights his way through to cross the plane for the Tigers' game-winning touchdown. That takes them to the state title game next Friday. Both Byron and Lena will be heading to Hancock Stadium in Normal for their individual class title games. We'll have plenty of coverage leading up to state this week. From the press.